What's up, guys? I think we're good. Please let me know if you can hear me, if everything's good. I tried getting uh, on here like 30 minutes ago, and between my computer, my connection, I couldn't get on. So it was just buffering, saying going live, and it never went live. Now it looks like I am. So sorry it was a little later than I thought, but we could wait for a few minutes for some people to get in here. What's up, Shane? You can hear me, I presume. That's glad if you can. Yeah, I don't know what was going on earlier. I'm not really a morning person, so I was kind of getting it thrown together at the last minute, and I think it's my connection was shit. Also, if you can guess whose jersey I'm wearing, uh, it's number 89. I wore it for a particular reason, but yeah, it's number 89 here. It's kind of backwards, but I'm curious if any of you guys can guess who this is. Uh, yes, it is. That is Santana Moss, and I got this jersey for two reasons, Robert. The first being, I think Redskins gear is going to be defunct soon. Like the franchise is basically defunct, because of the name. So I was like, okay, in 50 years, maybe not even. I feel like people are going to want some Redskins shit, not like Santana Moss or Champ Bailey, but it says Commanders. They want to have the real thing. So I have a really good. What's up, Peter? I'm glad you're here, man. Sorry, it's a little bit later. Yeah. So Shane, I feel like however you feel about it, from an investor standpoint, I feel like it's smart to get that kind of merchandise. Anything that might go defunct and they're never going to make it again, it'd be interesting. So yeah. Yeah, Robert, I think it's interesting. You got that Santana Moss quick too. A lot of people, you know, don't remember him too much, and they remember him more from the Jets than they do the Redskins commander, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I like to throw it back, and that's the other reason I wore it. I'm not really a fan of any of these teams, so I thought it'd be just kind of funny and trollish to wear a jersey. But I did like Santana Moss when I watched him play. For yeah, a football fan, yeah. So me too. That's the thing. I think we all love football. Yeah, we're gonna do the good, Steve. We're gonna shine some light. We all love football, and I think that's why it annoys us the most because we know how football ought to be played. It's not like we just hate football and we're hating on it. We fucking know. We see some of these touchdowns, and they're just ridiculous. Some of the stuff that happens. TCU, did they get three? That'd be interesting if they did Ohio State four. That's interesting. It's like I do wonder why they had him win or why they had him lose. Um, if they're gonna, I don't know. It just seems like they made it. I said this with the college game. The reason I didn't think USC and TCU were gonna lose is I feel like it painted the committee into a corner, and I don't know why they would want to do that because now they have to make the decision of putting Bama in or TCU. Either way, they're gonna piss people off. So it's very interesting that the committee did that. I don't know why they'd put themselves in a corner. What's up, Mike? I'm glad you're here. And yeah, Robert, I feel like probably yeah, collectibles are great. I'm into NFTs, all that stuff. Scotty, the Chiefs are. I have to remember who they're playing. I think they play at 4. For some reason, I thought I liked the Chiefs, but I don't know why. I'd have to see the game. I might be thinking of last week. Colts Cowboys game. Do you think the over? I'm taking the over, Zach, because my method. Yeah, they're like what are the Colts 1-8 on the over. And people are going to hit the under hard. I feel like with those two teams because Cowboys play good defense and the Colts play shitty offense. So yeah, I think that game goes over. I think I already got that over. TCU got right. Yeah, I mean the whole thing was stupid. I mean they could have easily scrambled, right? This guy runs for 90 yards. He's looking like Shane Falco. He's bleeding. He's doing all this stuff. And then from they literally had first and goal from first off, it was a bad spot, which the coach there has accepted. It's fine. But you get two sneaks, you're in there in college. College is a lot easier than the NFL. You basically they do it all the time, and I mean you see in the NFL it's not that hard. You got first and goal with a pretty athletic quarterback. You see Brady do it all the time. So, Max Duggan could have snuck that in. They just did that to troll with people. Let TCU come all the way back, and then they had that happen. But it was, I think the coach robbed the team, if we're being honest. But we know they're all in on it. Yeah, the robber, it's crazy. So I feel like, yeah, COVID made it interesting because you see a lot of their hypocrisy, right? They got on the WWE for allowing crowds and things like that. And for the wrestlers actually wrestling, they were calling them, super spreader, all this stuff. And basically the NFL and the other leagues were upset at the WWE. And The WWE basically said like, we're doing nothing different than what you're doing. The they did the bubble, WWE did the Thunderdome. It was the same idea, but my point is, COVID threw a lot of it off, and I think people had time to sit back and they had time to watch more than they ever have before. And I also think without the distraction of fans at the games, like just watching the games in silence, basically might have. I'm just This is just an idea now that you brought it up. Might have made it where we saw it from a better perspective. It's like watching a movie but like on silent. You can kind of see their body language and their mannerisms a lot better, and because you're just focusing on that one sense, right? If you're watching a movie, listening to it, and you have all these different reactions to it, and there's like a nice score going on in the background, and there's music and there's dialogue. Well, now you might not notice every little thing as observantly. So maybe watching during COVID with no crowd, wrestling, they have crazy crowds that you can't hear anything. So that's why you can't hear the wrestlers communicating with each other. Hey, clothesline me. Hey, send me to the ropes. Hey, reverse this. But they are saying those things. We just can't hear it over the roaring crowd. And they had to adjust how they pantomime things when COVID happened. So yeah, I think football. Maybe that's why a lot of people started noticing around that time because maybe it was more obvious without the crowd. Just my opinion. Georgia, Michigan, TCU. I think that's the four that get in. I can't see Bama being flipping TCU without people already think that they're biased towards Alabama. So I just can't think that happens. Chiefs play Cincy. Okay. So that one's interesting. If I remember correctly, Chiefs are giving like 2 points, and I thought a lot of people were going to be taking the Chiefs, only giving like 2 points. Also, Cincy earlier this year they made a statement to the effect of Burrows said it. Well, yeah, and it's the same as last year. It's the same. He even said same script as last year. And if you guys noticed, they've been using the word script a lot. Okay, so it's not a coincidence. The announcers, the players, they love saying like, "Oh, they really flipped the script" or that kind of stuff because that's what it is. But Burrow says basically the same script as last year. Where last year they started off slow and then they kind of got going. So I'm wondering if they do beat Kansas City because the trap line and the fact that not trap, but a lot of public's going to be on, I think, Kansas City. And because Burrows has basically said, hey, by the end of the year, we're going to be really good. Uh, let's make sure I didn't miss anything. The Ravens line dropped and 9 people are on Denver. Yeah, I see. It depends on it's on the, I guess, the where you're looking. I have a hard. Do you mean 9% of the people are on Denver Um, um, or it dropped to 9. I see what you're saying. So okay, yeah, yeah, the line dropped to 9 people. And some when it moves those half points, a lot of times it really is just. Sometimes Vegas does want a certain number. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but they have it. It's simulated by a computer, and they have like a number, a spread, and they do want even action on both sides. There's not. I don't think every single game they try like they try and make a certain thing hit. I think it's with games people are going to be putting a lot of money on. Now, this one they might put a lot of money on, but it's also a psychological number. So if it starts moving, people start thinking that like, oh, money's moving towards Denver. Maybe I should take Denver. That's just my opinion, but I think enough people are going to be on Denver. Yeah, I mean they're getting 9.5 points against a team that's choked a few times this year. If I did not think it was rigged, I'd pick Denver. I would think, yeah, Denver's defense should be able to contain Lamar. It should be a low scoring game. That would be my logic if I was a fan that did not think it was rigged. But since I think it's rigged, I think Denver covers. Yeah, I agree. Pulse X. Oh, no problem, Zach. Like I said, anyone that that's why for the 4 o'clock picks, I told people anyone that wants my opinion, just pop in here. I'll give you my opinion. So are these the official rankings, Steve? If they did that, then that's really, I guess they did it maybe to prove that they aren't biased towards Alabama, but people are still going to be infuriated. There's going to be people that said that now like let me make the argument against TCU now, right? This team lost a big their only title game. They lost it to a 9-3 team. All their wins were very close wins. They just eked them out. They didn't. They had one of the worst offensive defensive efficiencies in the history of teams to have made the college playoffs. So you see the arguments against them, and you can say that you can make the same arguments against Alabama if they had made it in. So again, the committee painted themselves into a really weird corner here. where I feel like they did it on purpose so that now they can, quote, address the issue and reformat the brackets. What did you hear 3 times from the announcers, Shane? The that you think that's the rankings, or I just wanna know because if I missed it. Chiefs, I think it's gonna actually I don't know why. I have a feeling for a minute, I was thinking Burrows might just surprise us all and really beat Patrick bad, which I know sounds crazy. But then I thought about it, and I know that's crazy, even in a rigged game. I think that the Bengals probably win by about 4 points, 4 points. I think the Bengals win a close one where you have Patrick Mahomes driving down the field at the end, but he doesn't get it done. So I'd lean towards I'd lean towards the under usually just because you hear Mahomes versus Burrows, and more people are gonna, I think, cram that over. Oh yeah, that's the best thing. I want see. I need to remember to start DVRing my games because I forget, and then I'm like, oh shit, I didn't DVR tonight's game, and now I can't go back and listen to these dipshits. Uh, oh, thanks for understanding boxing. You're always so grateful, man. The one over, yeah. So sometimes I put stuff on Discord, and it's like right after I do my video or something. I think you might be talking about the Broncos over. I like them just by default because they're like 1-9 on the over this year, and it's so seldom a team finishes like they never finish with zero, almost never with one. The lowest is usually two or three. So we're reaching the end of the season. I think them and the Colts have to go over. It just I think a matter of whether it's this week or next. Um, but if that's the one you're referring to, that yeah, the Broncos over I added after my video. So for anyone that saw my video in here, I like the Broncos going over with and especially with the Ravens. That's a perfect game for it to go over. Oh, is that what they said about Bama? But yeah, it's weird because they say TCU had a better body of work. Yeah, see, and they could have spun any narrative because they could have easily said TCU did not have the quality wins. Bama's loss was with an injured quarterback and against Hendon Hooker. I mean, that's not too bad. So they're just explaining it away. It's weird, but I think they're going to have to do something because people are going to see right through that. TCU fans are going to see the other side, like I just pointed out. Tennessee fans are going to see a side and say, "What the hell? We destroyed Bama. We should have been the team that might have been fourth." So there's going to be a lot of. I think they did this whole thing in retrospect. Now that it's basically done, I think it'll help us pick in the playoffs for sure. But I think it was done just so they could quote address this whole issue, reformat the bracket, get fans talking. So Scotty, yeah, like I said, I think typically I'd go with the over on that game because I think a lot of people are thinking Burrows versus Mahomes, but for that reason, I like the under. I just think it'll probably be lower scoring. Remember Buffalo played Kansas City and Romo predicted that 24-20 game. Uh, I won't be as brazen as Romo, but I'm expecting something akin to that. Yeah, thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. I didn't have time to go through college last night, but Louisville, I've really been hot on, been waiting on them to play because they're doing awful against the spread and they're a good team. So, people, yes, they will be taking them in some games, but I don't know how much they're laying here. But I definitely like Louisville here, cover that spread. Knicks money line, Detroit 7. I had to look into NBA. I know they start earlier today, Mike. If you give me 1 second as I'm looking through these comments, I'm going to pull up NBA and tell you what I think of those picks. Oh, thanks, Lyrics. I appreciate it. I just try and get everything I think of out there for you guys. It's not always the best. Yesterday we didn't do great. We went 3-5 in basketball, not a good record at all. But yeah, Broncos is on the Discord. Yeah, that's the right sequence. And yep, I started a whole new rig log for a reason on Discord, so you can jump in fresh. Um, I'm just trying to multitask a little bit here, but yeah, I just decided, hey, let me get my picks out there. And a lot of people like the narratives because they see the narratives. And we know gematria is there. We just can't. We can all take it a different way. The narratives is like watching WWE. Yeah, we're cracking it, Charlie. I don't think the NFL's watch. I make a joke that Rogers watches me because he never does what I need him to do, but you never know, right? I think certain people watch. I know other channels watch and stuff, but for different reasons. But I mean, I think as we grow, that'll start happening. They know what's going on. What's up, Frankie? It's good to see you. So I see a few. Yeah, make your Lakers money line. I told people were making fun of me for taking the for Lakers, like freaking roasting me, and I'm like, listen, I have them covering a spread and possibly beating the Bucks because, and I explained why. Uh, I think people don't understand. People are going to do this with the Lakers. They're going to beat teams they shouldn't. They're going to lose to teams they shouldn't. I like the Steelers. I think that should not be an even matchup at home for the Falcons. I like the Steelers because it looks like a trap game. Louisville's there. I like the plus 12 there. That's good. Okay, so they're playing a good game, but I still I like Louisville getting the points just because they're doing so bad. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, we always do, or we always start off fast, good, and finish strong. For example, horrible start yesterday. We were like one win and like three or four losses, but then we got Golden State, the Suns, Fresno State over, and we covered the Fresno State spread right after. So we actually finished like really good. It's weird. We always finish good. I don't know why, but I seem to call the Pac-12 and I obviously missed the championship, but in general, the Pac-12 and like the Pacific Games and the NBA, I seem to call them well better. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that I had that same logic, Frankie, because it seems like they're pushing all these games to go into overtime really deep, right? And you only got like what 10 minutes, and at the same time, uh, I think we've had two ties. It seems like they're trying to force more ties this year. So there's a good chance that they're going to I get at least get one more tie. Yeah, Canes, that should be a good game. I just think Louisville covers. I think they do for a cover there, Mike, but it doesn't Canes probably still win, in my opinion. I'm not sure about the Eagles Titans, Zach. I usually only go with teams terrible. If you told me their metric against the spread, I can give you a much better idea. Um, oh, you're saying yeah, winless. Yeah, so I like Louisville because they're winless. They're like 0-7, Steven. Yeah, Colts, because that's a 4 o'clock game, so I'm gonna wait to see, like, halfway through the ones, if we know where one's going, I'm gonna make the Colts a leg too, so that's why that hasn't been amended yet. So I could add that as a leg one, and we can make it a leg two, but it's not like I don't expect to go undefeated from the one for the I would like to, but for the 1 o'clock games, so I have the Colts locked and loaded as a leg two, along with Cincy. What's up, Chris? I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Frankie, I agree. I think they're doing that with a lot of these with a lot of it happens on the Thursday games a lot, it seems like, but yeah, they're having these certain games go to overtime and then almost finish out a tie. The Colts, yeah, the over, okay, and it's the over on the Colts, just so you know. Yeah, maybe it's because like the curse with the circadian rhythm at night's different. I do seem to do much better at night. I don't know what it is. I sometimes I'll even fall asleep in the daytime, wake up at like 7 or 8, then I'll make my nighttime picks, and they always seem to be better than my daytime picks. But we did really good yesterday during the day, so let's hope that happens again. Ohio State definitely gets in, Frankie. I think that's why they had USC lose. I think they officially flipped USC with that USC loss. That's why I didn't think they'd have the balls to have TCU lose as well. It's interesting. Yes, that's right. I understand boxing. So we always continue to the right to the next leg. Usually, believe it or not, we close them out in the same day, like all seven, eight, however many we play. But uh, if not, we would continue into Monday or into a basketball game. There's a good chance, honestly. I mean, if there's a game that would tie, that would be the game. It would also make that division interesting. But I'm predicting there's going to be at least one more tie before the year ends, which I don't know how many they've usually had in the past. You got the Colts, Frank. Yeah, see, I got the over on that game. Oh yeah, I was supposed to go over NBA. I didn't forget you. Whoever picked NBA, I think it was Zach or someone picked NBA. I want to go over that for them. But yeah, the I think the Colts is a good. The Colts over is a good play. I like Cincy with the points. I would have to say that's a good question, Chris. I'd say Santana. I think AJ's probably not quite there yet, or am I wrong? I honestly, for all I know, AJ Brown's playing like 7 years. I feel like he's only been in the league a few years. I feel like as of today, it would have to be Santana. So, okay, we have a little time before the NBA games. OKC under, yeah. So OKC Thunder, yeah. So that's what I was explaining. Leg three became the Blazers. I thought I told you that for the Thunder loss. It was leg two, and I was waiting to see how the Thunder went, and then depending on how that went, I was going to make the Blazers leg three. That I went ahead and I wasn't able to for Golden State, which really sucks because Golden State. was going to be my leg three of another sequence or my leg two, and I fell asleep, so I couldn't lock them in as a leg. I just had my original sequence. But yeah, if you need a leg three, I would personally, of all of the games that I've looked at, like I said, the Jets with the points I like a lot, and the Broncos to go over I do like a lot because of metrics and because of the Jets. In that case, I can't imagine too many people taking Mike F and White, which nobody knows him at. Yes, by the way, that's like just starting, so I doubt they kill that gimmick right away. It just looks like a trap. I like Jets in that game, and it makes the division more interesting. The Vikings don't need this win. Yeah, there's usually just one or two. That's what I thought. So we've had two this year, haven't we? I thought, or do we have one and one that almost tied, or like five that almost tied? I can't remember, but I think there's definitely another tie. Miami Super Bowl, yeah, it could be. I think they wait on Tua. I've noticed something with. So let me make some playoff predictions. And you guys can throw yours in there too. Well, first let me hit NBA. I'm gonna hit the 3:30 and the 4 o'clock game. That way, just in case I forget, you guys can lock in those games. Nuggets Pelicans. I honestly like Denver. They just got shellacked by Atlanta, and they're playing an all around great team. But again, it's a team that I think has to kind of pay its dues. So I think a lot of people are going to take the Pelicans. I like the Nuggets. Suns are traveling to San Antonio. They're giving 10. In that game, I look at the spreads. I like the Spurs to cover, to be honest. The Spurs have actually spoiled a couple games this year. So that one, I like the Spurs. And then the rest are 6 o'clock. I'll go into them. Someone mentioned they played the Pistons plus, what was it, plus 12, giving seven, getting plus seven. I would have personally taken the Grizzlies only because they are one of the worst teams against the spread, and playoff teams don't typically finish bad against the spread. Yeah, if you want, I can do NBA picks now. I was going to do them, answer questions, and go into the playoff scenarios. So I just whoever, if you guys want NBA picks, just let me know and I can run through them. If you'd rather we talk playoffs and I can give NBA picks in a little bit, let me know and I'll do that. Okay, one tie this year, one tie in 21, one in 21, two in 18. So, okay. So maybe I'm wondering if they break the record because they've been pushing so many of these overtime games to where if this team misses a field goal, at the end, it's basically a draw. So I'm curious to see if they go ahead and make it a uh, at least tie their I don't even know what the record is, but at least tie the 18 going back 5 years, and I think they might get three. San Francisco money line. I'm gonna look. So you guys want me to look into the Dolphins game? I know that's 4 o'clock, so that's probably the reason I didn't prioritize that one, but it certainly is one I find interesting. So I think I have agree. If you guys, so I could be a little, I guess, braggadocious with things I feel like I'm over the target with. But I'm also the hardest on myself if I don't know. Like Rodgers has been my daddy this year. I'll be the first to admit it. But regarding Tua, I've had a very good read on Tua. I feel like I've had him read all year long. In this particular game, I love the Niners to cover. I think I don't think there's as much public money on the Niners as people think. You have to understand there's going to be a lot of people taking the Dolphins money line here, and that's why I like you saying money line, Mike. It's definitely safer. I always go spreads for value because I do so many picks. But I'll tell you why I like the Niners to cover because I think they're pushing this narrative that Tua is a really elite top five quarterback at home, and they're definitely making sure that they make that distinction. He plays 50 times better at home than on the road, and in my opinion, they're trying to push him as somebody who in Miami you can't stop him. So I like the Niners to cover that game, but the money line is a much safer pick. And then Eagles, I have them winning. I have them covering. I think 3 weeks in a row now they haven't, and we've seen some chinks in their armor. So I think we're going to see a really strong Eagles team this week when people might be fading them, taking the spread. He's 9-4-1 against the spread. Yeah, and I think that could continue for sure. And that if it continued, 10-4 isn't crazy. Um, and 9-5, wouldn't be crazy either. But it shows he is good against the spread as an underdog. I just feel like in this game, a lot of people are 4.5 is a decent bit of points. So Niners, don't. they only scored what they scored 13 points last week. So I think a lot of people might be looking at it from that perspective, and they're going to take Miami 4.5, maybe sprinkle some on the money line, thinking it's upset value. In Miami, I think Tua wins because they're pushing how good he is at home. So that's just my opinion. And yeah, the Eagles, I think they do win, and I think they cover. Who are they playing? They're playing Titans. Yeah, I think I think more people are going to be on the Titans. This is another game. It reminds me of Tennessee in San Francisco. The Titans have not only they're getting good money line value. Their money line value is something to the effect of like I think it's like plus 170. So they're almost getting about one, 1 and 3/4 to one by picking the Titans against a team that's been struggling, and you have the best running back in the game. So I mean, it's really easy to take the Titans in this game. Yeah, I like the Niners too. Buying that half point would not hurt. That 4.5 is a little scary. The Niners have been shown not to blow teams out. They usually play good defense and win close ones, or they'll lose close ones. But if you're getting four, definitely take it. But sometimes I'll charge you like an extra $15 for that half point if they, and it depends on the circumstance, because sometimes the half point will only move like from -110 to -120. Sometimes it jumps you to -145. It's kind of funny. 65% on Miami plus 4.5. That actually sounds for the like how I feel about like public and action and Vegas. That actually sounds pretty accurate. I thought it'd be closer to 60/40, but of course, I mean, what the hell do I know? So 65 35 makes sense to me. That sounds like a line that makes sense. Same with the Titans. I would think the Titans would be getting at least 60. I could be wrong, just because the Eagles have not looked great lately. I love the Titans there. Yeah, see how the Jets jumps. I had to spend a lot more just to get that half point because I think mine, yeah, it was like one at the time, I think it was 105 to 135. But yeah, it jumps like 25, 30 points because they know when you're working with 3 points and 6 points, 7 points, it's going to be, you're doing it to get that. If you hit by a field goal, now you win. Titans 64%. So actually, both ones you gave me sound pretty accurate. And usually, from what like the public, payout handles to me don't. But both of the ones that I would have in the low to mid 60s have been. So that does make sense. I think Titans should be getting that +4, and I wouldn't be surprised if their money line was getting a decent bit because it's a good upset game. Oh yeah, you should see how they treat boxing. You should see how with injuries. You should see how they if a tackle was injured, I would like almost fade that team almost every time because they make it seem like nothing, but these damn tackles get hurt, and then the quarterback gets sacked 9 times, and they can't run the ball. It really like it. I understand even in a real league, tackles are important, but they make it seem like without a tackle, you just can't win. So yeah, if you have some injured tackles, that's really good, and uh, that's one of the reasons. It just seems like that. I think people are going to think it's going to be a much closer game. You have a two leg parlay with first like one Dolphins teased up to 10. Okay. Not sure if you should hold on to the Dolphins plus 10.5. Okay. So you already won half. Okay. So uh, I would hold the Dolphins. So, okay. I, like I said, I think the Niners are going to cover, but 10.5 is pretty safe. Um, if you're having like some doubt and stuff, if you can cash out and not lose, like I don't know if they take any of your value. I haven't actually prematurely cashed out a parlay ever. Uh, So I'm not sure exactly what'll happen, but if you're going to get the same odds back, like the same that you would have if you had just bet on the first leg, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because I don't know if they win by 10.5, but I do think the Niners cover the 4.5. Oh, the UFC. Okay, cool, nice. I know you've done UFC before. I'm glad you did well there. Eagles. That's a good leg too. That's a good leg too. I'm gonna make some of mine leg twos. I locked my 1 o'clocks in, but like I said, most of my leg twos will be 4 o'clock, and I'm gonna lock them in. And yeah, it's. I mean, you can honestly hold it. I think, like I said, I think they'll probably cover by like a touchdown. I don't think they're gonna blow them off the field. I don't think they want Tua to look bad. I just think they want to look good at home. But as far as the playoffs, I want to go into a couple things. Yeah, Louisville's definitely a leg too, just because of the metric. They're 0-8 against the spread or something, 0-7. Whenever a team's that bad against the spread in basketball, We're almost a third of the way into the season. Same with the Broncos. These metrics this late on, I definitely as leg twos. Yeah, I like Philly as well. I think they cover. I think they look really strong. Titans have looked strong several weeks now. They even when they lost to the Chiefs, it was close. So I think they're due for a. Oh no, no problem, man. I was just giving you my honest opinion. I don't want to script your parlay. Um, 10 and a half is a pretty safe bet to hold at. But personally, I feel like if one team were to blow out the other, it would definitely be San Francisco blowing out Miami. Yeah, I will. Since I recreate, if you guys are new, if you're just watching, most of you are probably in the Discord. But the Discord, I recreated the rig log, the bet log, so you'll see all the sequences now, and I'm gonna update every one of them. So there's no chat in there. I just made it where all you'll see is the charts, so it doesn't get lost in between traffic. So I can't even chat in there. I literally can just post I don't know, well, I can, but I'm not going to. I just post the picks, and that's it. And they just go in there. So if I see early on the Jets are down 28 nothing or something, then I'll put update leg two, Colts over, etc. And we only need to win 7.5 sequences for every three-legged loss. That's what makes the system so good. And over time, you could just you could at any given time, you might not be doing great. But I went into the video yesterday in my video how we took a three-legged loss yesterday, and just because of other picks yesterday, the day before, we almost squashed that. Yeah, so I started with 185, and I'm not counting my 185 as far as what I've earned, of course, because that's just like cheating. That's just double counting it. But what I did is that's part of that's in future bets right now. We're just over 1,000 now. That's including what I have in games today. But it literally was just you need 7.5 wins to lose every three-legged loss, and we went like 21 before our first three-legged loss, and then we went like another 15. Then we got two four-legged losses, if you guys remember, in a row that lost me like 1,000. So I went from like 1,400 down to four, and you could be upset about that, but that's still more than a double up, and that's how I look at it. So you do need a decent bankroll or bet real small units if you have. I try and go over money management with people and stuff like that, but yeah, it just I said from the beginning, it's a boring, conservative, modest system, because you know you're you're picking your spots for the first part. With NFL, the reason I've noticed playing every game helps is because there's only two. You don't have tomorrow. You have Monday, right? So what happens is even if you're flipping a coin, you'd hope that you catch like 40%. And I feel like with our metrics, we're above 50%. We've been doing above 50% since the beginning. So I feel like even if we split the 1 o'clock games, we're in a great spot to close out all the sequences and maybe have one headed to a third leg by the Sunday night game. So that yeah, you definitely have to be conservative. There's the Fibonacci sequence where you basically do the same thing, but you bet even lower just to win your money back. But I've noticed over time that one like would take basically years to accrue sizable gains. You got 190, perfect. So you're just starting jumping in now, and you're doing 10. You want to do 25. I You could talk to Steven because he's personally tailing me. And I have like the worst luck. We talked about this last time. This guy is like the worst luck. But like on like two or three leg threes that I hit, the line flipped, and he literally got clipped by like a point. So I won my leg three, and I'm moving on. And he's like, "Bro, I lost. What do I do?" So it's been really tough. Lately, it's just been like I said, I don't think there's been any clips lately, but that's what happened with Steven. So he jumped in at 25. That happened, and we've been trying. Now it seems a little better, but like I said, it was just at a point where it was like, damn, like 2 clips, and he was kind of like really in a rough spot. So I would personally start lower. I started at that when I started, you have to remember I wasn't playing every game. If you watch my first video, I was doing 25 on like one game, and then I was waiting, and then after we won a few times, I made it 2 games. So if you're gonna play multiple games, I would do 10. Especially looking at like just in retrospect, you're doing 15. Okay, so after you fell, okay, so 15 wasn't working. I would recommend between 10 and 15, if you're just jumping on, because like I said, I couldn't foresee those like all these clips happening. Because for me, from just looking at it from the beginning till now, there's never been a point that I was ever in like distress. But at the very beginning, like if I was, I can understand. So I would definitely lower it just because now I'm playing more games. I'm playing more games because it's grown a bit, but at the beginning I was only playing a few. I think the so the Cowboys Colts, that's going to be an interesting one. Last I checked, I thought that the Cowboys were. Let me see. Oh, good. The games have all started, so this is good. Okay, so I didn't go into it because it was the night game. Looking at the spread, I love Dallas. I think the Colts are a casualty in this game. There's casualties in every game. They're basically there just to um, I call them jobbers, put their opponents over. And to me, after beating the Eagles, and a lot of people are gonna, or did they beat the Eagles or did they? I forget if they beat them. I know they kept it pretty close. Oh no, the Eagles came back and won by a point or something. I forget exactly what happened. But after that game, I think a lot of people are going to take the go ahead and take the Colts to cover. So I like the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys. I'll take the 10.5. That's one where a lot of people buy at the 10. I like the Cowboys in that game. Let's look at some of the games. This will be fun. So um, I want to go into the playoff narratives. So what do you guys think of this scenario? NFC East, the entire NFC East gets in, right? Leaving the Vikings, who are obviously getting in anyway, the Bucks, who are obviously getting in anyway. I mean, you could say the Falcons, and then you got the Niners, who are obviously getting in anyway. So now we got the entire NFC East in, and from that point, I would think it would come down to Jimmy G versus Tom Brady in the AFC Championship. So, what do you guys think of that? Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Vikings, and Niners, Cowboys, and then it's a Niners Bucks in the championship or in the divisional. And either way, Brady puts over Jimmy G. That's my theory for the NFC side. I think it kind of writes itself. You do think that happens? Yeah, it would create a lot of controversy. Could you imagine if a 7-10 Bucks team won or some shit like that, and a 10-7 Commanders team did, or a Giants team didn't get in? If they're following the NCAA script, that's actually a good point. I'm glad you brought it up, lyrics, because controversy creates cash. If anybody who knows who made up that quote, let me know in the chat. Oh yeah, Brady's gotten in. So I mean, I know he has to get in because he wins the division, but we know Atlanta's not getting in. So the only one that would be holding up the Commanders and the Giants, in my opinion, would be the Seahawks. The Seahawks are the only team standing. I mean, I don't see the Falcons doing much. I guess you could say the Cardinals. I don't know what their record is. I don't think it's good enough. But the Seahawks would be interesting, but without Russ in the playoffs, it makes it less interesting. And I just feel like I don't know. I think they're a boring team to be quite honest. I think people would rather see Minnesota 3-0. Okay, and we have oh cool, we have the Jets. That's nice. Okay, I noticed they're pushing the Jets as a really good defense this year. Sauce Gardner obviously is good. Quinn and Williams, they do have good players. I grew up a Jets fan. In case you didn't know, that's why I have this Santana Moss jersey. I'm a very loyal fan. So when guys are unjustly traded, and again, I thought it was real back then. When guys are unjustly traded, I like typically side side with them. Just like when Pennington was unjustly released. So they 3-and-out field goal. I don't know how that happened, or unless or the Jets start with the ball and then they punted it. I don't know how that happened, unless the Vikings got a pick. I don't know how they went 3-and-out and got the field goal, unless they had really good start and field position. Um, Lions red zone, nice. I think that game's a big trap. I think a lot are gonna be on the Jags. Yeah, Peter. So yeah, I'm pretty like my whole family's like that to be honest. Like my mother, she just followed around Peyton Manning. My father, he just followed her around. I don't know if you guys remember McNabb. I'm sure you do, McNabb. But everyone just followed around different like players, and for me, it was like this jersey, this little logo, this number doesn't care about me. As a kid, this is how I thought. But the players, they were real. So I was more a fan of the players than a random team. Yeah, no problem, lyrics. I thought I'd start a little early. That way I wasn't like in the middle of the games. And sometimes the beginning could be a little slow anyway. So, guys, don't feel free to, leave me. Nope. I usually, once I see you guys are kind of like the party's getting real low, then I'll shut it down. But, feel free to leave. But if you guys want to stay, we'll talk football all day. I don't watch all the games. I just kind of check the updates and I like to see what's going on. Nice. Commanders in the red zone. I think Commanders is going to be a good one. I know I say that about all my picks, but the reason I with the Commanders is I think way more people are going to be on the Giants here. It just makes sense to me. I think that people are going to just know in their mind they don't think the Commanders. I think people are going to look at them as pretenders. Oh, good. And out from the 3 yard line. Okay, we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they don't get a field goal. Eagles scored. Okay, so it looks like from what I'm reading, we're doing pretty good so far. All of our teams are winning or in the red zone, something of that effect. I think Minnesota's up 3-0, so that's not great, but we got that half point. So, but yeah, so that's my theory for the NFC. My theory for the AFC after the Patriots lost is I think they're gonna. I don't know if they get in, but I think they're gonna give the Raiders one hell of a run. So if I the Raiders, I absolutely love. They play at 4, I think. And the reason I love the Raiders is on Thursday night. Nice job, Eagles. Good job. On Thursday, I think the Eagles do good. On Thursday night, they were showing while the our pick was getting pummeled. Who did we pick on Thursday night? I forget who it was, but whoever we took, Patriots were getting pummeled. They were showing how the Raiders, who play them in a couple weeks, have been coming back as of late, and they came back against the Seahawks, and they came back against I think it was the Chargers, and now they're 4-7, and if they win this week, they're 5-7, and then they're only 2 games behind the Chargers. All those teams that are vying for that seventh spot. So that's another reason I think the Niners win. I think the Dolphins and Jets can't be too ahead of the Raiders. Okay, field goal. I wish they would have just plugged it in with Gibson or the guy who got shot in the carjacking. I feel like they could have got it in there, but that's fine. Broncos get the field goal. Of course they do. That's fine. I'll take it because I have a little more on the over than I do on the cover. But let's hope the Ravens get a quick touchdown. I'm hoping they don't push the Broncos defense this game because I think people are going to be on the Broncos with the points because of that. That's the reason I went with the Ravens because there's going to be a lot of people saying, well, the Ravens are good, but the Broncos can shut down Lamar. He can't really throw, so we'll cover. That's what I'm thinking the logic is. So looks like we're doing pretty good so far. And on the AFC East, I think it's going to be. So my preseason pick was the Ravens, and my reason was that it was too obvious to have the Patriots. Oh, not the Patriots. It was too obvious to have the Chiefs. They are the new Patriots. That's probably why I said it. The Chiefs and the Bills. I thought they were too obvious. So I'm like, it's not going to be the Chiefs. It's not going to be the Bills. Who does that leave? And I'm like, the only one that leaves that also makes sense is, in my opinion, the Ravens. So Bears are driving. Okay. I think did we take the Bears? Yeah, we did. Okay, we got them against the Packers. Okay, cool. Uh, so yeah, I thought the only way that it makes sense if someone like a wild card gets in, like the Ravens. But since it's going to be Jimmy G's redemption, now it makes more sense that he beats a quarterback like Josh Allen or one who beat him, like Pat Mahomes. So I have been very slowly thinking about completely changing. I didn't actually bet it this time. I'm sure he'll hit it because I didn't. But I actually didn't a couple weeks in a row. I played it like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I got so busy trying to help like set up like Bears got a field goal. Like people had different questions regarding the games and stuff. I kind of stepped away from player props. Luckily, stressed. I'm sure you guys all know stressed in the Discord. He's awesome. He posts so much good things about player props that like it really just makes it where I don't have to do anything. But yeah, Fields. I feel like he needs to throw for 200 pretty darn soon. Windy in Chicago, that should be good because remember they showed how freaking cold Aaron was the other day when it was a little cold out. So hopefully we see the same kind of Bernie Sanders mittens and stuff today. If suddenly he looks like the cold's no problem for him, that might not be a good thing. But I think what happens is Bears go up early and they put Love in. Now he starts off against a division rival. People like him. People love Love. Not to be, but they do. And I don't know, Love versus Fields. It already sounds like a freaking matchup in heaven. It's just like these names are so made up. Interesting. So Aaron Rodgers was at the game, the biggest bum, and then his second biggest bum friend, LeBron James, wins the game. And it's and he's from Wisconsin, so he was probably there pretending to be a Bucks fan, right? So that's interesting. I need to see people tell me shit like Prince William was at the game, and I'm so oblivious because I'll notice like the most obscure thing, but I'll miss Prince William at the game, or in this case, Aaron Rodgers. I watched some of that game. I don't remember seeing him. Um, yeah, of course. Like, right. They do that all. Like, I mean, not that I'm not gonna lie. Like, most girls probably would want to be with Aaron. Right? I mean, it's kind of hard not to want to be with an NFL quarterback, but they're always gonna show that side of them. Just like Jimmy G has these cheerleaders sprinting out of their way for him. I'm pretty sure they knew who Christian McCaffrey was too, but they just made it seem like they made it seem like Jimmy was there with both his friends. Now, to be fair, if you're just watching them sitting there at a game, it does look like there's like a professional athlete there. There's two friends because uh, Kittle and McCaffrey like just chilling don't look like athletes. Jimmy G looks like he should be famous for something. Steelers field goal, nice. Okay, wish we could get some touchdowns on the board, but I'll take the field goals. I a lot of these are to cover, which is nice. Um, like we're getting points on a few of them, but yeah, I'd like to see the Eagles is the one Eagles and the Commanders. I'd like to see go up early. Jags in the red zone. Okay, hopefully we can hold them out. Like I said, that one I think more people. I just think more people are going to be on the Jags than the Lions. I could be wrong, but I think people still look at the Jags and they think okay, they got Trevor Lawrence. They got a pretty good defense. Etienne, I don't know if he's playing, but that guy can run if he is. And I think people looking at the Lions are just saying, no, like outside of Lions fans, I don't think people are seeing. I also think it makes more sense because giving the Jags that's good. If the Eagles are playing good defense, that's really good. Giving the Jags an earlier pick to me makes more sense than giving the Lions. They've given the Lions early picks. Nobody's ever excited. But the Jags, a team that it looks like they've been marketing as of late. Imagine you can give them a top receiver to go with Trevor Lawrence, or they got a top three defensive player in the draft. Now that team becomes like the Jets is this year. You see what I'm saying? And it should be interesting. I'm curious to see how Mike Effin White's doing because they were really pushing that up a little bit. So okay, they're basically in field goal range. I'm not sure how windy it is in Minnesota. He's 6 for 10. Oh, he threw an interception. Mike Effin White threw an interception. I also think there's double meaning. So the shirt is technically Mike F apostrophe in White. So I'm thinking Mike Finn White. Like, is he really a Finn? Right? Is he going to lose to the Finns? See, I'm always thinking about craps, weird stuff like that. Yeah, I noticed the pick, but it looks like they should be able to tie this game up. I think 47-yard kick if they don't. Yeah, if they don't get the first down. If they okay, it looks like it's going to the Jags had to kick a field goal. Skin. It looks like Commanders got the ball back. This is my good luck jersey. No, I'm only wearing if you're you guys as you know. I just saw it sitting in the corner, and I'm like, you know what? All these guys that say they like these people handicap sports, and then they're sitting there with like a 50,000 pieces of memorabilia from a certain team behind them, and they're like, I'm going to unbiasedly tell you why the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win. So I just thought it was funny when I see that, you know, that behind them is all these like all this memorabilia of their favorite team, and then they'll pick their favorite team and tell you it's because they're good. So I thought wearing a Moss jersey, which kind of was, or just a Skins jersey, was pretty interesting because I do think the Commanders are going to win. So I thought I'd wear the jersey of the team I thought was going to win. But yeah, it's just another one where I think they started them off like trash this year. Okay, good job, kicker, not missing a relative chip shot. Um, 47, 48. If it's from the 30, then that's a good kick. Yeah, the Giants Commanders, I think a lot of people, if you remember, here's another narrative. If you remember about 6 weeks ago, they asked Ron Rivera, why is the NFC East doing well? What's the one difference between you and the other teams? Now, mind you, they didn't ask any other coach in this question. They didn't go to Lovey Smith and ask him the question. They didn't go to the guy on the Panthers and ask him. They didn't go to Mike Tomlin and ask him. They only asked Ron Rivera. I wonder why. And and he goes quarterback. They got quarterbacks basically. And then everyone was like, "Oh, he's calling out Carson Wentz and he's throwing him under the bus." And They made it a big deal, and then Wentz was like, "Nah, it's not really a big deal." And then they barely beat the Bears that Thursday. Wentz facilitated the game. They made it obvious it wasn't Wentz that led them to victory, and that's when Heineke came in, and they started looking like a completely different team. So you can see them push the narratives. They tell you the narratives. It's just a matter of us finding them in time. So sometimes it's not easy. That's why I'm not a fan of Gematria, because though Gematria comes up to me like yeah, it can come up both ways, and usually it's not until after the fact that the numbers are seen. So it's like, oh, okay, now we know why the Bills won, not why they're going to win. So the narratives, Ron Rivera is saying that, and now Heineke's looking like Shane Falco. I find very interesting. Oh, I don't know. Did they start yet? Because that one I felt pretty confident in the Texans. Someone had brought up, I think this was in the YouTube. It might have been in Discord. How no, I think it was in I think it was YouTube. They brought up how most former quarterbacks lose when they return to their whole old team. With Baker Mayfield being an example, someone just literally lost to their old team. He brought up like three guys as an example. I'm sure you guys can think of them. You might have seen the same comment, but basically, yeah, these quarterbacks return and they lose to their old team. Oh, it was Russ versus the Seahawks. That was the other one. But yeah, to me, it makes sense that not even if they don't lose, I feel like in 9 points, we have a lot to fall back on if that narrative doesn't work. Yeah, I see. Houston looks like they're doing pretty good. Again, I think Watson still has some penance pay. You don't just come back after screwing up and look amazing. This, I think, 2 nights ago was Kyrie's first game that he looked pretty good since he's been back. So, when you come back because you screwed up, you don't come back and look like a superstar. That's not how it works. So I think he's going to look average. He has fours today. The fours look good. Oh yeah, isn't he? That's his number, right? His number's four. Oh, you're talking about Derek Carr, like the different fours. You say you think they look good today. How many fours do we got? We got Carr. We got, I think Carr's four. We got Watson. And isn't that a 4 point spread? No, that's an 8 point spread. Okay. There are a lot of 4 point spreads, but I guess that's normal. I think there's another four. I'm trying to think. Oh no, I'm thinking of 14. Who's 14? Josh Allen? Isn't Josh Allen 14? I'm trying to remember. I'm really not good at that. I'm good at numbers, but sometimes with the jerseys, I mix up people. Hey, what's up, Yusef? Oh man, Yusef, I remember you. Thank you for leaving such a nice comment on my page the other day. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you like the channel. Basically, we all understand, and not like to different extents, but everyone here understands that it's a rigged game. It's scripted. So if we can bet on who, oh, he's 17. Okay, who's 14 that I'm thinking of? Um, if we can understand it's scripted, then it helps us a long way. And any questions, please let me know. I feel like I've been rambling for a little bit. I'm only rambling. Oh, Diggs. I don't know why I got Diggs. That's probably why 14 and Allen. Yeah, yeah, those two are like brothers. I probably why that's probably why I get them too. I always get there. It's weird. I get numbers mixed up all the time. Cars, yeah, Heineke. Oh, Dak. That was the other one. How did I miss Dak? I don't know why I didn't think of Dak. Yeah, Dak. So that's another number four. So yeah, it's interesting actually. Isn't that that's a funny coincidence. Because four is not a number I've seen a lot in prior years, but like like when I was watching long time ago, I remember it was mostly like we'd see five a lot and stuff. Yeah, thanks, Yusef. I do my best. Yeah, the Discord. Luckily, I've been in about a dozen Discords, and they were all at one point or another. They all became very toxic, and it's because I was in a crypto Discord, I was in NFT Discords, and people in there just in crypto. If crypto's down, people are going to be more negative, and then what happens is people just come in to be jerks. So I've right now we have like 120 people, but what happens is you get like 400 people, you're going to have like it's just you're not going to be able to contain it. You're going to have people become toxic, so that's when moderators become necessary. But right now the Discord's awesome because for me it's like it's not my Discord, so I just make it. I'm in there, but it's for you. It's for everyone else to talk. So if people are bashing each other, that's one thing, but that's yet to happen. If someone's, you know, giving alpha, giving information, that's usually what's going on, and that's the whole goal. So if I'm out there, like Steven last night really helped out by putting all the college picks out there, and all the good metrics. And then we got Stressed in there, who's always just putting out the first player to score. It's almost like a think tank, and that's literally what I said when I made it. It would be a really cool think tank to have, but I want it to be positive. I literally made a section in there called the Zen Den for people to just go and chill to online smoke together, whatever. Uh, yeah, and yeah, they changed it where more now you can wear whatever number. So we're gonna have more fours. Yeah, and it's not even the amount of people you said. It's just I think it's verifying them. So some discords aren't as they don't care about security. I can change my channel to be very secure. So like only people that aren't bots and stuff, and not even aren't bots, but like it can make it a pain though because they have to register and all this stuff. So right now it's not ultra secure, but if I start getting a bunch of bots or a bunch of people just coming in to say mean things to people, then I can upgrade the security. But yeah, when you get more people, you're just going to get that. You're going to have either people from other discords want to come in and make you look bad. I've seen it all. I've seen people come in and just start making racist comments and pretending they're part of the Discord, just to make your Discord look bad. But yeah, our Discord's been great, and I think it's just because everyone's in there for the same reason. At least I hope. A very few, some that watch this channel will actually come in the Discord just to like be like, "Oh wow, this team lost. We'll go 9-1," and they'll come in and say, "Oh, this team lost. Looks like whatever." And it's whatever. I'm not gonna boot somebody for saying that, but some come in just to be negative, but that's okay. What's up, Double P? Vikings money line. What do you think? Oh man, I had the Jets. With the three, I bought a half a point. I like the Jets with 3.5. The money line could be safe. I just think way too many people are going to be on the Vikings. Double P. I think they're trying to make this Mike effing white guy look good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had a game leading drive, like winning drive towards the end. And just again, yeah, the public money. I think the Jets looked pretty good the last couple weeks, but the Vikings have looked so good this year outside of one game against a really good team. I think I liked the Jets with the three, but I bought a half. I'm not sure what Cousins did. I'm guessing it benefits the Jets though. UAB and Stetson over. That's a good one. Yep, Monmouth. Yep, that's a good one. Thanks, Steve. The Celtics Nets, I like the under. The Celtics have been going over at a ridiculous pace, Yusef, and I just think an under is due. I also like the Nets to cover, just so you know. I think people are going to be all over the Celtics as well there. But I think the unders, I think not even due, because due is a bad word to use while betting. I just mean people have to be slamming the Celtics over at this point. The last one we almost caught, but they went over because the game went to overtime. But when a team's going over and playing at a certain pace, and now you got the other team that doesn't play great defense, I think it just makes sense that people are going to be slamming the over. So I actually like the under there. Houston got three. It would have been nice if they got seven. All right, good job, Lions. Isn't that 14-3 there? That's good. I would normally agree Roblox boys, but they keep pushing how Tua is so good at home. I think this year now he's 9-1 at home. It's kind of reminded me of a Golden State thing where they really want to push Tua as a great guy at home, but on the road, he's just average. So that's the reason I do like the Niners to cover by the 4.5. Not that that theory makes sense. They definitely want to push Miami and Tua. I just think they're going to push them more in the at-home games. Yeah, the exactly. Jalen hit that 30 footer or something. You said that was a rough one when overtime screws up your over/under. It's never fun, but that's why I do this sequences the way I do. We that one we did wind up closing out. The another one went to like three, we didn't, but 36 on the under, is that really bad? Oh, Brooklyn, you mean? Okay, I see what you're saying. So, okay, so you're saying Brooklyn is at 62%. So, okay, so Brooklyn's about where the Celtics is on the over. Where I see what you're saying. Yeah, so Brooklyn, when you see combating metrics, I would typically stay away. So typically, I would not play that Celtics. I would say, okay, Celtics are good on the over. Brooklyn sucks on the under. But then I factor in the public, and I just think the public is going to be nailing the over. So I do still like the under because of the public betting. But that's a good point, Steven. Sometimes you'll see a team that's winless against the spread against a team that's undefeated. So I just stay away from that game because something's got to give. Or no, no, not winless versus undefeated. You'll see, yeah, winless versus undefeated, or you'll see an over under where one team hasn't hit the over and the other team hasn't hit the under. So those typically we stay away from. I think it is too. Well, I don't know if it's a trap game, Double P. I wound up taking uh, Baltimore minus 9.5 because I thought it was a good bit of points, and I thought the public's consensus was going to be, well, Denver plays good defense. The Ravens have blown a bunch of games. Even if they suck, I'll take them with the 9.5. So I did like I did take the Ravens minus 9.5. Yeah, so Brooklyn's hitting the under a lot. And in most cases, I would go ahead and I wouldn't take it, but I still like the under just because I think Boston's a little higher on the over. I know it's pretty close, but I also know I think the public's going to be nailing it. And then, do you like player? Yeah, so player props, I do. There's this guy in my Discord. If you want to join, I don't know if you have yet. Stressed. I know I brought him up a few times, but this man literally puts like 3, 4 paragraphs in there, and it's like it'll literally tell you like in the last 5 games, the this team has won this amount of tip offs, and 28% of the time the guards shot the ball. Surprisingly enough, the center only gets the ball 5% of the time. He goes into these, and he just gives us it for free. He's such a nice guy, and he puts it all out there. So I kind of let him cover that, but I've been working with him to do a system based off of player props. Okay, Titans scored a touchdown. So hopefully, like I said, the Eagles can respond. What's it, 7-7 now? It's a tie game, I think. So hopefully the Eagles can respond to that. But never fun. Burks injury, of course. Whenever there is a big play, they need to have some kind of fake injury so Vegas can adjust, so they can go ahead and like miss the extra point or something. Uh, but yeah, the player props they can be very profitable. But at the same time, just trying to do all the games, it would be really hard for me to really look into the props. That's why I appreciate everyone in the Discord who does. But yeah, so looks like we got a tied game here. Oh no, the Eagles never scored a touchdown. I thought you told me. I thought I read they did. So the Eagles are losing. Oh no, they did. Okay. So the Titans did score a touchdown, so that makes it 7-7. Commanders looking good. We're up 10-0 there. Jets 3-3 with the ball. 7-6. Did they miss the extra point, or were they just at an injury timeout? Yeah, Yusuf, I'm so bad. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good with. Well, I don't want to say really good. I've been calling basketball really well. Last week and the week before is the only week we played full NFL schedules, and we did go 8-4 both times. So, and that's with spreads, so that's a little tougher. So we've been doing good with football, and all year we've been doing good with football. College basketball, we've been doing good. Good job, Commanders. Nice. Are they up? Yeah, 10-0. Okay, I had just seen that. Nice. Good job, Commanders. But yeah, so basketball's been really good for us. And I was going to look into soccer, but I was just so preoccupied looking into other sports. I still haven't had a chance to look into UFC yet for Brian for Understand Boxing, and I want to. It's just I haven't really had a chance to. Same thing with hockey. Okay, good. So we got two teams up 10-0. That's always nice. And we have looks like right now our worst game is Philly, which is tied or something. I haven't checked Lions. Oh, 14-3. Okay, so we're doing good. We're doing good on the 1 o'clock games. So Youssef, I think the only thing that can happen is, and I talked to Steven about this, I've talked to other people about this. I think the only thing that can happen is TCU gets in, they get absolutely shellacked, and then people's to say why Alabama should have gotten instead. And then they can talk about how they're going to restructure it. If you lose a title game, for example, maybe you can't get in. If you can't win your title match, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. So yeah, or some, or they'll go and that's just what I think they're going to do. And they might expand it. I think having 4 teams is the stupidest thing ever. I don't know why they decided that was a good idea. I mean, I think they'll expand it to like 16 teams, something like that. Yeah, I thought they were. I might have even used that term. I might have said getting back into it, but yeah, I thought they were going to say that Deshaun Watson's rusty. He's coming back. It's his first time coming back, and it's his first game. It's been 10 weeks. They're used to Jacoby Brissett. It's not like he's only been out for a few weeks. He hasn't played in over a year now. So I mean, I think they're definitely not going to have him come back looking good. Yeah, it's an interesting one. You said 4 teams only. Like I don't know why. Like I know why they do it, but it's just such a stupid thing to do. And they really painted themselves into a corner now because now they have to either be biased for Alabama or they have to let TCU in and then piss off the fans who think it's a Cincinnati repeat. Are you the one who brought that up? Because I was telling people earlier about how somebody in the chat brought up how nobody, the Baker Mayfield, and different people, how Russell all lost against their old teams, and that would I like that insight because that definitely made me feel stronger about the especially having 8.5 points too. Okay, so he's throwing the ball low. Yeah, you'll see him throw it low. You'll see him throw it high. You'll see him throw it wide. But usually they'll stick to one MO. So maybe his is his throwing it low. For example, Rogers, his MO seems to be throwing it wide. Yeah, +8. I thought it was 8.5. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm mixing that up with the Ravens 9.5. It dropped to 7.5. Okay. So that one always is interesting. To me, you know, it could be because they were begging people to take the Browns. Knowing at 7.5, a lot of people will take that by a half point. And as you can see, it's probably not even going to be relevant. So, there's a good chance that's why they did that to swing it. But yeah, I like I like the points for the Texans here just because I think people were expecting this man's going to come back and look amazing. And he might have a couple nice plays in him, but I don't think he's going to rout the Texans or any team. Browns money line and Texans. That's a nice double. I like that double. It could be risky because then you're kind of hoping for a window, but I think it's a good one because I think they're going. I don't think they have them lose. I know like Roblox was saying a lot of times they will lose. To me, losing it could happen, but in my theory, it's a close game that Watson wins. They keep him in the playoff picture, and they explain how he's going to have to do better next week if they want to beat whoever. I'm sure they play a divisional rival next week. Somebody probably that's more important than this team. I'm trying to check the Titans right now. So Eagles got second and six. Oh, does he have the Oh yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that hits. Does Watson have the goatee? Someone brought up my goatee the other day. I was like, sometimes it gets way too bushy, so I just wind up shaving it. But I think last time I saw Watson, he was clean shaven, but I could see him with a goatee. That is interesting. Whenever there's a Brady only record, you never want to fade that. It's like they have Brady. Brady's the Shawn Michaels of if you watch wrestling, then you'll know what I mean. Brady's the Shawn Michaels of sports. He beats out anybody by a country. He beats out LeBron. He beats them all out just because there's no way they would have given this man what they have for so long if he hasn't done everything they asked him to do. Oh, Watson with the interception and that's what I'm saying. So um, I think that we're going to see a lot of that type of stuff. Maybe some delayed handoffs where he's having issues getting at the Chubb, just stuff like that. That stuff you would expect from a guy coming back. Giants got a field goal. That's okay. At least we held them to that. Browns in the red zone pick. Cool. So I like that. It looks like we're looking good there. Yeah, they want to close. Like I think everyone expected Watson to come back and just destroy the shitty Texans. But if you look at the Texans, they've actually spoiled a lot this year. Not wins, but as far as spreads, they've not like ridiculously well, but I think they're like 7-5 against the spread or something like that, or 7-4. Like nothing where I fade teams if they've won too many against the spread, but they've won enough. Eagles look like they're doing pretty good. They just got hit with a holding. Oh no, it was offsetting. Eagles look like they're doing pretty good. I seem to always pick the Titans wrong. And look at the Broncos here. They're actually containing the game. I'm hoping some scoring happens in the Broncos game because I really did think that game was going to go over. Oh yeah, yeah. I did forget about Messi. I guess we're a wild tiger. Before he had his whole thing. Uh, yeah, I guess Messi would be the only. I guess you could say Federer. But I feel like even with Federer, they had guys like Nadal and Djokovic kind of come up and look like they're on his level. Messi is pretty universal, especially because it's people, so many Messi fans and so many international fans of soccer, football, whatever you call it. Yeah, Messi is a good competition. I feel like he'd be the only competition. Definitely more so than LeBron. Okay, so Jets are still around the same odds, yeah. And good. I'll take any points from Pittsburgh. So what's that, 6-0? All right, cool. That one we got a money line, so we need to win that one, unfortunately. Like I said, I thought it was just. Oh, is he? Okay. Well, like I said, I always say if it's a real injury, I hope he's okay. If not, screw him for being an asshole who fakes injuries. Huntley and at quarterback. So now, not good for us. Not good for the over either. So hopefully something happens. Who knows? Maybe Huntley starts looking good, but we don't need it to go over much. But it seems like it's playing at that Broncos pace, and I think that's what people expected. That's the only reason I thought the Ravens are going to come out and look pretty good here. Maybe their defense will make a play or something. Yeah, Messi, Ronaldo. Tell me that's not scripted, right? Yeah, that would be really interesting, and I feel like that would be something that it would be historic. So I don't think that's a bad bet at all. I think they definitely want to have that, especially now. Like more, I think we have more eyes on the World Cup than ever. So, and just on soccer in general. So, yeah, lining them two up against each other, that's definitely a good bet. That was my logic with Jimmy G. Why have him beating Brady in the playoffs, and then probably Mahomes. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Like, I just either way with that game, that one didn't jump out to me like Pittsburgh or Detroit as far as I thought it was like a trap or the Jets. The Jets, those jumped out at me differently. Denver was just kind of weird because I thought Denver was getting more points than they should have been. Are they frustrating Chains Cousins? That's because they got Mike F and White, and there's a new cool guy in town. I would not be surprised if after the game they had Mike White like dancing with the chains, or like if the two of them got into some kind of rap battle or something. That'd be pretty funny. Yeah, we're gonna. There's always gonna be at least like they don't make everyone a trap, but to me, when I look through them, I see about like it's like walking through your house and you can feel the little moles where the moles have dug. You can just kind of sit up. There's a trap. There's a trap. There's a trap. There's usually about three of them. All right, so Vegas is saying they think that, yeah, they're saying either a lot of actions on the Jets, or they're saying that again. I think it's all psychological. Someone sees that they're just more likely to think, let me take the Vikings money line. Vegas knows something, so I wouldn't be too worried. Packers, of course, they're in the red zone. Good thing is if we know Rodgers, he's going to throw an interception right to freaking a defensive end or something. Chiefs Cowboys. I think the Chiefs lose to the Bengals. I think it's a I think 2 points is not enough. They should be giving them a little bit more. And I think the Cowboys, I think I had the Cowboys. Oh, they play tonight. Yeah, I think the Cowboys cover. I think people are going to think the Colts, hey, they played the Eagles close. They've been doing pretty good. And they're going to take the Colts with those points. Lamar, yeah, that's the fake. Oh, damn it, I'm injured. I don't think it's a real injury, but I could be wrong. Um, Yeah, I mean, the Bengals did knock them out, but at the same time, the Bengals have not exactly been given much either. So I feel like giving him another win over Mahomes would actually be fair for Burrow. He got lost. He lost in the Super Bowl. Everyone knows it was rigged. Uh, but yeah, I mean, there's always that the revenge factor. I think it makes more sense if Burrow wins again and then in the playoffs Mahomes beats him. But I could be wrong. Uh, Allen got his revenge against the Chiefs, so you could be definitely right. I mean, it's never smart. It's like I say with the Suns at home against certain teams. It's always if you're undecided, smart money. Always you're going to take the Chiefs money line at home. It's not ever a bad bet. I just thought giving only 2 points, it made me like since yeah. Let me go into all the NBA picks. And yeah, Tucker's range. What's he at? His own 20. Yeah, that man can hit it from anywhere. All right, so no, I'm guessing he's at like the 45 or something. So, and for the Nuggets Pelicans, I like the Nuggets because I think a lot of people are going to take the Pelicans after the Nuggets just got bamboozled by the Hawks. Lakers opinion. Oh, do I love the Wizards in this game? Again, I've been saying I think they're trying to push the Wizards as a good team. They have Porzingis, a guy who can somewhat maintain Davis. They can kind of explain it away. They have guards who can shoot versus the Lakers who don't. I think that after the Lakers have looked so good, now everyone's going to put all their money on them to beat Washington, and Washington is going to shoot the pants off of the Lakers. So I love Washington in that game. Yeah, I don't like to, I don't know what's going on with Lamar, but he seems to be letting me down today. I need an over from that game and him to cover, so it would be nice. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's they've done that a couple times where they've Chase has been out and then they've looked awesome. then Chase has come back and they've looked like trash. So it could definitely happen either way. But I just think they have the Bengals win. Again, just because of the trap. Even with those two, I think more people are going to go with Kansas City. I had Philly covering, just because I think Tennessee's looked good. They covered against the Chiefs. The Philly just barely beat the Colts, and we've seen some chinks in their armor. So I think a lot of people are going to be fading Philly. So I have them covering. And regarding the Kings, because of the metric, I do like the Bulls in this one. The Bulls just got shellacked by the Suns and Warriors. We won both of those games 2 nights in a row. So I think tonight everyone's going to be assuming the same thing, that the Kings are going to beat them. They're going to like the odds, and I'm going to go ahead and take the Bulls to finally get a win. So I think the Bulls beat the Kings, and I think the Wizards cover and beat the Lakers. Um, while I'm looking at them, another team I like here is I love the Knicks to cover. And if you're looking for a possible upset, I can see the Knicks straight up winning. Again, I think the Knicks and Wizards have to be kind of close to each other because they're going to be the two teams, in my opinion, vying for that play-in spot. Yeah, Rogers owning the Bears. Rogers doesn't own anything. I don't think he owns his likeness anymore. He sold everything because there's just nothing about Rogers that doesn't scream that he completely sold out. And so another one I like, let me see. I like the Grizzlies to cover on the Pistons. It's another metric game. I'll have time to drop an NBA video just so you know. But since you're in here, I'll give them to you. I like the Grizzlies to cover the Pistons. Usually, playoff teams don't finish this bad against the spread, and they're pretty bad against the spread. So I think they turn that around, and the Grizzlies do cover. Yeah, I mean they've been selling all year. I just assumed that they were going to put people over in the playoffs, not just look like. I guess the goal was make them look like you know decrepit now, so the other guys look that much better, right? So now Fields looks that much better. So like he's not directly putting them over, but by looking like an imbecile, they're putting the others over. You guys probably know. So Pacers Blazers is a tough one for me to pick because there's going to be bias involved. I'm going to pick that one later. Right now, of course, I'm going to say Blazers because I think they have a better record than people think. But I will say 2.5 points. Personally, I think a lot of people are going to like them at home. I think a lot of people. I think if you ask the average person who's more of a pretender, Pacers or Blazers, they'd say Pacers. So that makes me a little worried. But they're both really good against the spread. So it's not like normally I wouldn't touch the Blazers like as much as I love them because they're 14-9 against the spread, really good. But the Pacers are 13-9, so they're literally like the first and second team I think against the spread this year, or like the third and fourth team. Iowa State, I don't know who they're playing, and I don't know the metric on that one. That would take me a bit. Um, if you could tell me their record against the spread and who they're playing, I'll tell you who I like. And then the only other one that I did like was I thought it was an over. Oh no, the Clippers don't play today. Um, I think yeah. Next time the Clippers play, I like the over on them. But yeah, I don't get the 2.5. It's weird after they just blew the Bucks off the court. That's why I think it's a trap, Youssef. I think the Wizards win because this is the game where everyone's going to be taking, in my opinion. Why wouldn't you take the Lakers after they've won 3 or 4 in a row? They beat the Spurs and they just destroyed, in my opinion, the most consistent team in basketball, that being the Bucks. But for some reason, they are underdogs against the Wizards, who just lost to the Hornets. So like none of this makes sense. But by picking this kind of way is how we've done really good. Iowa State plays St. John's. Let me look this up for Ant real quick. Um, like I said, college basketball, a lot of all my picks, and actually we've done really well, have been just off metrics. So we got Iowa State playing St. John's. Oh, I see. Okay. In this one, so we got 4-4 against the spread against 4-3 against the spread. Honestly, just looking at it, I like Iowa State to cover just because it looks like a trap. I think the average public is going to see, even though they're ranked 23rd, an 8-0 team, I think they're going to think will be a close game. So I like Iowa State -7, slightly though. Yeah, yeah. No, they won't. So I just my opinion, Yusuf. Exactly, and that's what's on people's minds. Who's going to stop AD? Who's going to stop LeBron? These guys are pretenders. So the reason I liked the Lakers last night was because I think when they win, they're going to go on flurries and they're going to win a few in a row and they're going to blow teams off the court. And then everyone's going to start taking them and then they're going to lose games like tonight. That's been my theory on them for a while, and we've been really good picking the Lakers, and I think that's why. Just because to me, it's just so obvious when they're going to go on their flurry and when they're going to look bad. Maybe it's because of like the way LeBron plays, you can kind of tell he doesn't care, but they were really excited and celebrating. This is Lakers basketball last night, making people think, oh, things are turning around. To me, that was basically just to troll the fans. I do think they lay an egg tonight. Sorry. Just so you know, Double P, nothing here is ever off topic. Um, you can talk about anything. I want this to be an open forum, so nothing's off topic, specifically sports. But yeah, talk about whatever you want. Um, the championship right now, if it's the teams that I think it's going to be, I don't know why, but I like Michigan. A little bit ago, I had this Harbros narrative where the Harbro brothers were going to uh, both win a championship. And on top of that, with TCU being in there, I think if USC got in there, they would have been a good team to sneak it. But I had Ohio State fans telling me, "Watch out for Ohio State. They're gonna choke." So I think Georgia. Yeah, I don't know why. I just don't think they win it. I don't think Ohio State wins it. I think it's gonna be one of the other two teams. And I think the TCU Cinderella story could make sense, but it only made sense in my opinion if they won against Kansas State. I think the loss I don't know. I just don't see them continuing it. I think basically the end. So yeah, actually, of the four teams, I like Michigan, mostly because of the Harborough narrative. I think I had brought this going into the playoffs. I said, they're not really not talking about Michigan at all. But I also noticed they weren't really talking about USC either. But what I did notice was they seem to be pushing USC indirectly. So I probably should have, obviously I definitely should have gone with Michigan, but those were the 2 teams that I noticed they were talking about all these even Clemson they were talking about, but they weren't talking about Michigan. What's up, Dan? Happy Sunday, man. I'm hoping you're having just a chill day, relaxing. We're doing good with our picks from people are updating me, so it seems like we're doing pretty good. I started a little earlier today because I thought, people before the game, they kinda wanna they don't wanna just sit there and wait. So I figured, all right, we'll start before the game, and then if people wanna stay, they can, and like you guys always do, we always have enough people to keep it going. I don't usually wrap it up until I can tell you guys are getting pretty bored or something, or got stuff to do. But yeah, I hope you're doing good, Dan. We were just, and for anyone that jumped in, if you want me to re-go into any 4 o'clock picks, I'll go into them again. I know a lot of you weren't here, might not have been here when I went into my NBA picks, my 4 o'clock picks. Just let me know. I'll let you know who I like. I am going to do a video on the NBA games, just so you know. But I'll let you know now if you need to know. And any questions, yeah, let me know because that's what I love people's questions because there's a lot of times I'll have a theory and sometimes it just takes like the right question and it kind of reminds me of that theory and I feel like that's what really helps us. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Double P. I think dark horse is the perfect word because they're people know they're a good team, but they don't look at them like they look at Ohio State. So I think dark horse is the perfect word to describe that team. And then if you have Jim win his championship and then John win his, it's pretty interesting, the Harbros. Nas, I'd have to say it has to be the Raiders. I think they gave away the script on the Thursday night game with the Bucks and the Patriots, I think, and the Bills when they were showing the last 2 weeks how after Carr was very emotional, the Raiders came back and they came back on the Seahawks and then they made another comeback. In 2 weeks, I believe they play the Patriots on Thursday night or something of that effect. Or no, they play Thursday against the Rams and then they play the Patriots. But I think they have to win for that to happen. So I have the Raiders winning today. I think it was like a 1 point line. So I just took a -1. But yeah, my most confident four. I actually like a lot of the fours. Is yeah, I do like the Raiders to beat the Chargers. They are 2.5 point favorites, so I took them to cover, but I do think the Raiders win that game and cover. I like this Bengals, but I don't love it. And the only other four, yeah. So my most confident is definitely the Raiders. My most confident is 100% the Raiders. It's funny, Double P, because it's like now that we know it's rigged, I did the same thing. Christian McCaffrey got traded there, no problem, Nas. Any other games, let me know. But yeah, there's not. I don't love the fours. I like them. Really like the Raiders because the narrative. Public money, yeah. Sometimes with action in them, it's tough. I can't imagine that many people are hammering the Raiders, giving points when they haven't looked great. But I could be wrong. Um, the the public money was. Oh yeah, so I was on the Niners, and then just like you, Double P, they got Christian McCaffrey, and I'm like, well, there goes my theory, because now they're too obvious. But I think the reason they gave them McCaffrey is because while it makes them kind of obvious to win the NFC, right? The only team that I could see theoretically competing would be Dallas. Uh, and I don't think Minnesota could really compete. I don't think Philly could. But for the AFC, you got the Chiefs and the Bills, who I first thought the Ravens were getting in, but now if you put the Chiefs or the Bills in there, they become a favorite, I think, or at least people look at it as an even game. Or not Patriots. I meant the Chiefs or Bills. If I said Patriots, I don't know why. I just keep thinking the Chiefs are the new Patriots. So, like, they're setting Mahomes up as the new Brady. But yeah, Chiefs or Bills versus the Niners now is a much closer game with McCaffrey. So I do agree that them winning the Super Bowl seems obvious as hell now because they got McCaffrey. I think it was for a different reason. I think it was because now in the Super Bowl, they can explain they got the right pieces. Last year they didn't have McCaffrey in the championship. This year they do, and it was going to be just enough to give them that extra hump they needed to win the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion. It also falls in line with the Jimmy G comeback story. It falls in line with him beating Brady, and who he was a backup for, and with him beating the Chiefs. So Brown's got a safety and Houston did a turnover on downs, and so that's not great for the Texans. So what's the score there? Let's see. We are at what's it, 3-2? Or the, oh no the, oh so the Texans were going to score, didn't. Browns got it within their own three, I presume, and then couldn't get out of the line. That's pretty funny. So again, if I see Chubb got it, I could be wrong. I'd wager to say there's a good chance it was like a delayed handoff or something. They'll probably put it on Watson, say like they couldn't get the play off quick enough or something stupid like that. I could be wrong. Touchdown Steelers, nice, good job Pittsburgh. But I could see them blaming this on Watson and his being rusty, more so than like I didn't see the play, so for all I know, Chubb completely just got buried. But going with the narrative they've been pushing that he's been rusty, it would make sense that okay, a false start. Okay. I wanted when the false start happened, Double P, did they say anything? Did the announcer say like, "Oh, they're just not in a rhythm tonight" or something? Because that'd be interesting. The number 58. That's funny now. So it's funny how with different numbers we can come to. Did they? Oh, did they, Steven? That's kind of. It's so funny. I swear. You guys probably think I have like a TV behind me, but no. It just we did this with sacks last week. We were able to basically guess when a quarterback was going to get sacked based off of the announcers talking about the line. But yeah, so here the issue is going to be rhythm, not being on the same page. You'll hear that a lot, and rustiness. So that's cool. Um, 5-8. Well, there it is funny we got a 5-0 score, but it could be an 8-5 score pretty soon. But I will say this, Nas. Okay, yeah, out of sync. That sounds like a freaking that sounds like one of those words like make sure you say this word 500 times. Out of sync, out of sync, out of sync. Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. I was just curious if they were hitting that narrative that the false start was because they're out of sync. Like not like every other time when it's just a random false start. Um, the reason I like the Texans, Nas, I thought the points was a lot. People were going to be assuming Watson was going to come back as Watson, and I think they were going to push this narrative, this out of sync narrative. Uh, and I That's good field position. And then someone brought up how, and Roblox brought it up in here earlier, but someone else brought it up too, how teams, a lot of times quarterbacks lose to their former team. Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson being an example, Brady being an example. I'm sorry, Manning being an example, Brady being the only outlier. So that stat made me really like my pick. I have the points, but it made me think, okay, my points should definitely be good, and there's a good chance we get a straight up upset. So I'm glad you got them nods. You got them for a different reason, but as long as you got them for a good reason, that's all that matters. Okay, so it seems like we're on. It seems like we're over the target with that Texans game and Watson, which will be good because when people start fading him is when he's going to quote get it together. Oh, is he? What's that? Oh, okay. So we got some points at least. Goodness. So that one obviously we got the over and the Ravens covering. So yeah, if the Ravens could do something before the end of the half, that would be beautiful for both. We're doing good on the Bears. It looks like it's going to be 10-6 in a second. Actually, it's a pretty long field goal, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Uh, we have the Steelers. We're up 10 there. We're doing pretty good there, so that's good. I'm sure you guys are watching. I just haven't checked in a bit. Oh, nice. We're running away with the Lions game. Giants did tie it up, and Vikings did take the lead, so that's not great. Hopefully the Jets can get a stop here because we are working with some points. Okay, no, the Commanders just took it's 13-10. So we are up on the Commanders. All right. And the Eagles are up. So the only one looking not so good right now is the Vikings. Uh, the rest is looking pretty good. I took the Phillies. I took the Eagles to cover double P because I didn't know that, Steven. Thanks for letting me know. I never even heard of this guy. But 6 for 6, of course, right? Um, I took the Eagles to cover because I think people saw some of the chinks in their armor over the last few weeks. They see that the Titans have been a very, very consistent team. So I figured since they covered against the Chiefs, since they won against the Bengals, and the Eagles barely beat the Colts, I figured more people were going to be on the Titans to cover that spread and even a straight upset. So I took the Eagles to cover the 4.5. That's good that the Commanders are driving. Yeah, Eagles are up by 7, so that's good now. And it's good if they have the ball because I think they're going to have Hurts. Okay, they just got a rough in the passer too. They called one on the Titans, so there's a good chance the Eagles blow this open to 21-7. Like I said, the Vikings might be the only one, and the Ravens not looking great. Oh, are they? Yeah. So there's something with the punters this year, double P, in college and the NFL. Out of nowhere, these punters are pinning inside the one whenever they want. And they're punting like 80 yards. I've never seen it. Like all the prior years, we're seeing fun punt returns, all this different stuff. And this year, the most ludicrous year, they decide, yeah, we're gonna make the punters look awesome. I just don't get it. Like, this can't be a coincidence. I noticed this all year. Yeah, Steve, and it's a nice punt. I'm glad they punted it, but all year I've noticed too many. I've noticed more pins inside the one this year than probably the last 10 years combined. It's been ridiculous, and I'll take it all day. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a sack in the end zone, um, intentional grounding in the end zone, something they could pin on Deshaun Watson. Sorry, I figured that noise is probably annoying. I wasn't thinking of that. But yeah, so I wouldn't. I wonder the last time. When's the last time there was a safety on back-to-back drives? I'm sure they would love to do that. All right, there we go. But yeah, so I'm curious what happens. Another safety would be very interesting. Oh, they got to the 7 or where are the Browns at now? Are they pinned or? Okay, so I went to a timeout and they're at the 1. If they're at the 1 right now, it would be really okay. No, they moved the ball a little bit. I was gonna say another safety would be really funny. Um, I don't think it'd be dumb. I do think I think they need again. I think there's more appeal to having the Browns win this game, just because it keeps them in the playoff picture. They're gonna look shaky, but then get it done. So I don't think it'd be dumb, but I can certainly see a touchdown for the or a win for the Texans. So I don't think it'd be dumb at all. I don't think it's a guarantee. That's why I always take the points. Uh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right, you get 7-0. How'd you get 7-0? Right, and nobody would ever guess that in a million years. You got two safeties and a field goal. Texans at the 8. Nice, good job, Bears. Okay, so they missed the pat, which not great, but from what I can tell, what were they at? Because we're getting 4.5. So let's see if that messes the bottom line up. So it could actually that could mess the bottom line up. Let's say it went to 13-16, right? We'd still be covering. So, but there's there's some cases where that missed extra point, like if the Packers made it 21-17, we'd still be good. But if it was something like, so it looks like from what I can see, the missed extra point, there's not many scenarios where it's going to screw us over, which is nice. I always look for that where it's like if they miss it and then I'm like, wait, this game could very well end up being exactly, a point short, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen here. So good job, Bears. Another reason I like them, think I went into it in my video, but not into too much detail. A lot of times these guys will trade off. So Packers blew out the Bears at home, and I figured the Bears would do to at least cover, but probably maybe win a game. And I didn't think they'd blow them out, but I figured the Bears would sneak a win at home against the Packers. It just made sense to me, especially because I think a lot of people were assuming Love was going to play or something of that nature. At some point, they'd put Love in. I think with that prospect, people are going to like the Packers. So I think the Bears hold. Uh, I don't even. I think they want to push them like they can still get in the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to push them too hard into the playoffs. 8 flags on Phillies. Wow. Oh, what's up, man? It's good to see you in here. I didn't see you earlier. Uh, yeah, that's never good when the penalties go against you like that. But hopefully, they still hold the spread. Yeah, he lost. Oh, yeah, he lost citizenship. That man, I'm telling you, that guy lost ownership of like I said, of his soul because there is just something about him that it just is. It's laughable this year. I mean, and he doesn't even care. It's just like he's being paraded around like a puppet. I've never seen anything quite as bad as Rodgers this year, and his numbers don't even look bad. It's just the stuff they're having him do is just laughable. Is he playing bad today? Let me see what he's got. Okay, so today's 7 for that. That's the thing. He's throwing these 4 yard passes, getting his receivers lit up, constantly throwing it short of the first down line, and then he'll yell at his receivers and shit. Like they're definitely making him a heel this year for some reason. I don't know if it's his stances like politically. Maybe he did something else, but he did get a big contract. I know that. So the Vikings isn't looking good. We just had a 38-yard catch, throw and catch from Cousins. Hopefully the Jets can hold them to a field goal. Like I said, luckily that one we got some points to work with. Eagles looking pretty good. Oh, they called another rough in the passer, I think, unless I'm looking at an old play. Vikings in the red zone. Yeah, they're moving the ball pretty well. So Vikings and Ravens are the two that aren't looking great. The other ones are looking good. Looks like Falcons finally got on the board. It's 13-6 there. I think. Oh, well, it was 6-0, so we're still up by 7 in the Pittsburgh game, so that's nice. Lions looking really good. Browns. Looks like they're gonna have to punt it unless they go for it. And yeah, the Eagles are looking pretty good. Hopefully the Commanders can hold. It'd be good to see the Jets hold the Vikings to a field goal because that keeps that one totally in play. I mean, even a touchdown keeps it in play, but a field goal makes it where a touchdown makes it a lot better, a lot closer for the Jets. So I think they push White and give him a. I think the defense plays good enough, and White, just my opinion, White does some kind of bullshit at the end where he plays really well. Uh, it looks like they're reviewing a play. I just kind of checked the updates on my phone. But yeah, I haven't actually gone into the 4 o'clock games yet. I just realized that. So let me do that now. Like I went into a couple of them. So the Seahawks Rams, I hadn't gone into this game at all yet. Looking at this game, looking at the spreads, it's a very interesting one because I do think the Seahawks win this game. They have to keep that again. They have to keep it close with the Seahawks, the Commanders, those type of teams. The question is, do they cover the 6.5? And I don't think they do. I think it actually winds up being a closer game. This is going to be the Fox game, I believe. I'm not sure in most regions. So I think it's going to be a close game. Also, the Rams are 2-7 against the spread this year, and usually you just 2-8's are really rough, even for a shitty team. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. Usually, you're against the spread. You're going to finish with at least two or three. Um, so more than what they have. So I think the Rams actually cover that 6.5. You could buy it to 7 if you want to, but I'd wager to say if the 6.5 misses, the seven's probably going to miss too. I'm playing the odds that it's going to be about a field goal game. Rams might even give people a scare. I don't think they win, but I think it's a low scoring game where uh, the Rams do cover. I went into the Dolphins. I like the Niners to cover because they are pushing Tua specifically at home. How good he is. Oh, that would be great if the Broncos could help us with the over and oh well, it depends. I don't know if the Ravens got any points. If it's still 3-3, I'll still take it because it'd be nice to get a to hit that over. And I think the Ravens can easily get the points back. It all depends on Lamar though. But yeah, so as far as the Dolphins, I think Tua they are pushing him as a monster on the road. I'm sorry, at home. He's like 8-1. That's when Hill and Waddle go off. I feel like on the road he's been playing average. So I think they want to continue that where the 49ers probably look I don't think they dominate them, but I think they decisively look better. Get some more pressure on Tua and they kind of then his next home game he goes off, which will probably be in prime time, I'm guessing. And I think it just makes sense to so I like the Niners to cover because I think again they're kind of designating Tua as an at-home quarterback. That leaves us the Chiefs, Bengals, and again, I like the Bengals. It's moved to 2.5. It was two, so I probably wouldn't buy it to three. I mean, I might, to be honest. It's enticing. Uh, I do notice the Chiefs aren't that good against the spread this year, but I just think because the public, they're like the Warriors. The Chiefs are a team that people are going to take when they're laying less than a field goal, in my opinion. So I like the Bengals for that reason. I think it's going to get the most public action, and I think most of it's going to be on, in my opinion, the uh, the Chiefs. So I like the Bengals to cover. You could buy the half a point. I'm personally, if it's minus 135 or less, I'm going to buy the half point. If it's like 150, minus 150 or minus 145, I probably won't. Just to let you know. Uh, So it really just depends on if you're conservative. All right, I'll take that field goal. I think the lines are up by enough that that's not too bad. And then the last one I like is the Raiders. And I think, like I said, it's because that one's all narrative. They have the Raiders last 2 weeks they came back and won and they showed it on the Thursday game. And then they play next Thursday, the Raiders. So if they win now, I expect them to show it again. Like 3 weeks in a row, they came back and won, or 3 wins in a row, and then they're gonna play Thursday. They play a shitty team on Thursday, the Rams. So when they beat them, it would make them 6-7. So I like the Raiders a lot today. Rams and Colts on the money line later. So the Rams I just went over. There might be like a little delay with the chat. Uh, I think they cover. I like the Rams to cover the spread. I'm not sure they win the game. They're saying Denver is short. What do they go for it on fourth down? Okay. Um, yeah, that's not great. For a touchdown, obviously would have been better. We want the Ravens, but we want the over too. But yeah, so the Rams, I wouldn't. I think they need the Seahawks to win to make that NFC interesting. Because if they lose and the Commanders win, uh, well, I mean the Commanders Giants isn't that big of a deal because both of them are around the same record. It just makes it really hard to push any team for the NFC to get in the playoffs. it leaves it where like maybe the Falcons and the Seahawks would have to win and win out, or at least win a good bit of games. Whereas if the Seahawks win, now they're still in the hunt with the Commanders, with these other teams. There's not a lot of teams in the hunt in the NFC. So the few teams left, like Seahawks, I think they have to keep in the hunt. So that's the only. Had the Rams won last week and the record was a little better, then I'd be thinking a little differently. But I think the Rams. I don't think they win, but I do think they cover. That's what I was going over. I think they cover. I just don't know if they win. And the Colts, I thought yeah, the Colts is another one. I don't want to disagree with you and just, you know, if you already picked them, like tell you I wouldn't have. But if you ask my honest opinion, I think after the Colts they covered against the Eagles, uh, they've looked better than they should have. And I think a lot of people I think it was 10.5 points the Cowboys are laying, something like that. I think a lot of people are going to take the Colts with the points. So now there might be a lot of people on the Dallas money line. Same with Seattle. So you have to factor that in, and you might catch it. But I do personally have the Cowboys covering, and I have the Rams covering, but I don't have them winning the game. I have the Seahawks winning a close one. Well, that's what I thought. I figured they wanted to push Saturday, but I learned last week they can do that in a losing fashion. Giants tied it. Okay, so hopefully I've noticed they've given Heineke a lot of touchdowns. Okay, so what's that? 7-5. What are they? They're going to go for two to make it 8-5. I would presume. I'm guessing. That'd be interesting because who was the person earlier who said Nas? He said he liked the Browns because of the number 58. He said he forgot the theory, but he liked the Browns because of the number 58. And then we joked it'd be funny if the Browns went up and made it 8-5. So if they go for two and get it, whoever gave him that 58 gematria might actually know their shit because that is pretty interesting. That they might that if they go for two, I think they will. Uh, Usually you go up by the three. Hopefully they go for two and don't get it. But that 58 is looking pretty interesting. Yeah, I think they want to push Saturday. I just don't think they're going to have him beat the Cowboys. Not that he can't, and it would keep the division interesting. I just don't think, like I said, I don't think they're going to win it. I think a lot of public money is going to be taking those points. It's a lot. It's a lot of points, and it's not a terrible team. Okay, at least it helped your fantasy team. The yeah, Peoples Jones. That's not a made. I'm sure that's his birth name. All these fake names get like I swear they get to me. Like they don't get to me. It's just ridiculous. Like I know these aren't these people's real names. They have stage names just like actors. So it looks like the Steelers have a chance of putting it up 10. That would be nice. Packers looking good. Or not Packers, Bears. But the Packers are driving. But we got some points with the Bears, so that's always good. It'd be lovely to see Baltimore at least make this 6-6 before the half, but we'll see. More so for the over. I don't have any doubt the Ravens can pack on some points in the second half. It's more the over that I want to hit. The Ojo Cinco, yeah, he's 85. I mean, he played for the Bengals. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, the Green Bay is looking pretty good. They definitely might. That's why I've been taking them to cover the Colts. I just haven't had I play very conservative, so I haven't taken them to win. But I had them covering on the Eagles. Uh, and they did handedly. So I think I think they could definitely cover this week. I don't have them covering, but for the most part, I have had them covering because I think Saturday they want to push him as a worthy opponent to anybody. Jerry Jones, I wasn't there something about him and LeBron in the news or something. Yeah, maybe they embarrass him. Who knows? I mean, I have noticed. Speaking of so Dan Snyder a few weeks ago came out and said something to the effect of, "Okay, I might be finally ready to make some negotiations regarding selling the team." Jets not looking too good, but we'll have to see. Hopefully, the Eagles hold them to a field goal. But yeah, you mentioned Jerry Jones. When I find it, Snyder had said, I'm ready to make some negotiations," and that was the week he beat the Eagles. Field goal, okay, that's nice. They did make it, and then the next week they beat, that week they beat somebody. And then the next week they beat the Eagles. And now, if they beat the Giants, I think that's very interesting. He says, "I'm ready to make some quote negotiations," and then he runs through the division and probably gets in the playoffs. That's another reason I like the Commanders in the playoffs. I think by negotiations, that's what he meant. Winning some favorable games. They were the first team to beat the Eagles, which I find very interesting. So to me, that just made sense. Yeah, Titans look like they're driving. We'll see what happens there. And yeah, Lions look good again. I mean, the only one here. Okay, so the Browns did not make it 8-5, so that's interesting because with that kind of start, especially with the person bringing up 58, I would have bet dollars to donuts that they went for two there and made it 8-5, but I guess not. But that's fine. That's better for us. Like I said, we're working with 8 points, so every point definitely matters. Henry fumbled, and well, maybe. Well, they'll probably still get a field goal, right? Because that was third down, or no? It would have been nice if the Eagles recovered that, but I think the offense will do enough where if they can hold them to a field goal here, that'll be good. Even if they don't, I still have faith in them, but obviously holding them to a field goal is better. Oh yeah, Tannehill just got sacked, and then yeah, we're looking good on our games. The Jets, they're not looking great. I don't know why they would waste all this time with this Mike effing White shit, only for him to lose the next week. I guess it would be a funny way to troll the fans. Um, because I guess it makes more sense to have Flacco in if they're gonna wind up playing the Ravens at some point. But you missed all the bigs. Yeah, I put my video out. I thought I put it out. Oh, that you might have been asleep when I put it out. I put it out at like 1 a.m. because I kept trying to put out my video and it wasn't working. I didn't have enough data. 14:10. Okay, that's good. So it's right there. Right now we're I think missing by a half a point, but that's still good. Um, it's better than a touchdown. You're right on the spread. Okay. So yeah, I got my video out later than I wanted. That's why I went live a little before the game. But yeah, I'm sorry you missed the picks, man. They're looking like I said. They're not looking bad. If the Ravens, can split for me, then then we'll have had a really good 1 o'clock because Green Bay got a touchdown. All right, or we got some points there, so I'm not too worried there. Yeah, see, I was actually drinking the Trevor Lawrence Kool, and I just figured they're gonna push this guy. Why wouldn't they? But then when they had him lose certain games that they should not have lost, um, well, nah, I mean, I still feel bad. I try and get him out in the Discord and stuff when I can, man. I just sometimes I fell asleep early last night, and then I woke up at like 2 o'clock, and I'm like, if I don't put this video out now, I know when I wake, I'm not gonna have time to when I wake up. So I just put it out kind of late, but um. Oh, Christian Watson, okay. Yeah, the Jags, I just feel like they would have pushed Trevor Lawrence earlier this year, and now it's too late. So I feel like it makes more sense to have them lose, get a lottery pick, and then they do something where they could really have them compete with the Titans next year. Yeah, Watson's been doing crazy. I mean, he's been scoring. I think they're trying to push these guys now. Again, they want people excited going into next year. So now you're gonna have Lazard, Watson, and say they draft a receiver or a tight end. Now they have a really good, you know, a couple tight ends and a couple good receivers and a great running back and Love. So that's what I think they're going to do with the Packers. Yeah, the only one that's kind of looking cooked right now is I don't want to say it's cooked, but Vikings. I'd say it's not looking too good. Yeah, it definitely could be because I don't see why they wouldn't. He's a good guy to push. It's a division that needs exposure. Yeah, I was quietly was like thinking like they're gonna go for this. They should punt it. Even though they're down, I feel like they're gonna go for it and get stuffed. I was just thinking that because I looked at it, it was 4th and 2. Sure enough, they did, but that's fine. Like I said, maybe they turn it around. All they need is a pick six or something, uh, or just a stop and a nice play from Mike F and White. Yeah, there you go. Uh, so yeah, I don't know why they're again marketing this guy only to pull him. It's kind of weird. To me, Flacco always made more sense because he could wind up going against Green Bay or not Green Bay, going up against Baltimore. But Yeah, Lawrence, I don't know why they pulled the plug on him. They might not have pulled the plug. They might have just slowed him down, but they obviously didn't want to have him compete and look good for the playoffs. Even Herbert, Herbert's another one. They're just not pushing these guys yet. So there's got to be a reason. Yeah, Lions is as looking as good as the Vikings is looking bad. So you know, it's actually looking a lot better. The Vikings is not terrible. It's just not where we want it. But yeah, so the halftime report, because most of the games are at halftime, we're up by 10 on the Steelers. Bears are up 6. Lions are up 17 right now. We're down 2 on the Texans, but we're working with some points. And then we're tied on the Commanders. Probably going to be tied on the Eagles. Actually, Eagles might put some more points on there. And the Jets were down 14. So, yeah, the Jets and then the Ravens we got, I think it's 6-3, was it? Yeah, we're losing that one 6-3. So, it'd be interesting to see, like I said, if Mike Effin White gets it going, or if the Ravens just do some offensive, start moving it offensively. I think we finished with like kind of similar to last week, where I think we were like 6-1 in the 1 o'clock games, however many games there are. I think there's like 8, so 8 or 9, 7-1. We were something like that. It might have been 6-2 if counting the overs. I think we got 8 going on. We got 9 with the over. I think we finished like 6-3. The 1 o'clock games, I think we finished around 6-3. And then, of course, the way that works is any losses, the second leg's immediately going to be the Raiders. Yeah, Zach Wilson. Why didn't they go Zach Effin Wilson? It rolls off the tongue more. Um, he looks the part. That's what I don't get with these quarterbacks. I'm having a hard time reading why they aren't pushing certain quarterbacks. The biggest thing I can think of is IQ. They probably hate quarterbacks with low football IQs because they need to sell the game. And if you can't sell the game without looking like an idiot, then they're not going to like you. I got the Commanders in that game -2. I think more people were going to be on the Giants, and I think it since the Giants have one less loss, I think the Commanders could win, and Giants still have a nice path and be one of the teams in the hunt. And the Commanders could lose and still be in the hunt, but they have a much harder road, and they kind of have to. They'd be kind of eliminated before the playoffs, before you know, weeks ahead of time. So I think it makes more sense for the Commanders to win. Texans, nice job, Texans. Louisville's getting destroyed. Okay, so that one's probably not going to hit. Like I said, that's a metric that I just go by. So what I'm going to do at Louisville is that was, I believe, a leg 2. Next time they play, I'm just going to play Louisville again for my leg 3. Because again, we're now like a third of the way through the season, and I just can't imagine that this team doesn't cover a spread. It just has never happened. But yeah, so Louisville not looking good. Uh, but anyone that did pick Louisville, like I said, I for me, I'm doing my next leg Louisville again. The touchdown was overturned. The figures it was. Hopefully they're at least in like field goal range or something. Hopefully it wasn't like a giant play that was returned. And if you missed earlier, I like Iowa State. It looks like a trap line to me. I do like that game too. So if you played Louisville as like a first leg or something and missed, I'd go Iowa State -7 for the second leg. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to, like I said, just see if there's anything else. If there's any questions you guys have, let me know. But basically, it looks like we're doing good on the 1 o'clock games, and for the 4 o'clock games, you know who I like and why. So I'll post everything in the Discord. I'm also going to put the Discord chat in here. So you guys, if you guys ever want to like, just at the top of the video, I'll have the link so you can join the Discord. I'm hoping that touchdown was close. Now Red Zone is saying Watson is rusty and out of sync. Okay, so at least they're saying what we figured they'd be saying, and that's always good. I feel like again it just fits the narrative in my opinion. So you know, or are you talking about you're talking about Deshaun Watson being rusty? I'm guessing. Yeah, Steelers double P. I like the Steelers. I don't know how the Falcons were even odds. It made no sense to me. I feel like everybody was going to be on the Falcons at home. versus the Steelers. And again, the Falcons can lose this game because of how shitty that division is. So, it made more sense to me that the Steelers win this game. And so I'm glad you caught them on the money line. Both of us are looking good there. Yeah, Eagles, that could be nice if they can extend that to what it would be. I think it would be 21-10 or something. That would be nice. So, like I said, I think we finished around 6-3. Uh, and then I'm going to put out an NBA video because I know not everyone was able to catch this entire stream. So that way, you know who I have. For the 4 o'clock games, I covered them quite a few times. So I'm assuming you guys know who I have there. All right, good job, Eagles. Looks like they're going to get it done. Yeah, the NFC South, I think they're doing it for a few reasons. It's a way to get Brady in the playoffs and not they don't have to win a bunch of games. So, like you said, and it's gonna controversy creates cash. So when Brady gets in with a record of 8-9 or something like that, and another team like Seattle doesn't get in with a record of like 10-7, there's going to be a lot of upset fans, and that's they do want that. They want passion. So I think that's why the AFC South is going to suck. That's why I'm going to fade the Bucks a decent bit of the. I have the Saints beating them. I think that makes much more sense. You know, I think they play. Do they play tomorrow night? I think or it's next week. Oh no, you guys got my Monday night pick. I like the Saints, but it is interesting because I don't think the Bucks have covered a home spread all year. But I had a theory all year long that Winston was going to come back and play his old team. It made sense to me, but it just seems like they're not going in that direction at all. It just seems like they're going with Dalton. To me, it writes itself if Winston comes back and wins in prime time, gets revenge, and now the Saints are only a game out. But for some reason, they just are not playing with Winston. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, Double P, I agree with you. I like the Saints in that game. A lot of money on the Bucks. I think they won't be able to stop Kamara. And maybe I'll be right. Maybe Dalton will get quote injured, and Jameis will have to take the field like Shane Falco or something because I have a feeling that might happen. Is Trevor Lawrence quote injured too? Uh, Notice just whenever these teams are getting pummeled that they get hurt. Uh, but yeah, hopefully Lamar comes back. I don't think any of these guys are actually injured, but if they are, I hope they're okay. Hopefully Lamar comes back, then that can explain away some points for the Ravens. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe if Dalton gets injured, they put Winston in, and then he beats his old team. That makes sense to me. That's the only reason I would watch that game. If like as a fan of football, if I didn't care for the Bucks or the Saints, I'd only watch the game because it'd be fun to watch Winston versus Brady. Good job, Eagles. So it looks like Eagles probably going to cover. That one was a public pick. Again, I think probably, I think Steven said 64% of the public was on the Titans, according to whatever the source was. I'd imagine it was at least that because, again, um, Titans have looked great all year. There's no reason for people to be fading them, especially 4.5. That's a good bit of points. So that's why I like the Eagles there. So it looks like they should hold. Commanders will be a close one. I think Jets look finish closer. I don't think they get pummeled. Hopefully they cover that spread. That's why I bought the half point with them. And Ravens is going to be very interesting because the Broncos have been pitched as a good defense. Now we got an injured quarterback, so be interesting for them to turn that around quick. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, like I said, I will go ahead and post my NBA picks because I don't think I went into every game. But I just wanted to at least make sure we covered all the 1 o'clock games. If anyone had any other questions, I can certainly go into them, any narratives. But if not, I figured looks like you guys finishing up the games, and then we're gonna have the fours starting pretty soon, so you can get your best locked in and stuff like that. I got a few things to do before the fours start, so like I said, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Doesn't look like I did, and if not, like I said, we'll probably do this every week. I'll try. Someone mentioned setting up a midweek one where we can go over basketball. I'd like to do that. So maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday, we can do well Tuesday is when they have TNT Tuesday. So maybe Tuesday night we can do some basketball if you guys want. Just let me know in the comments or or in the Discord what you like. Yeah, that's all I want, Steve, is a split. If we can split that, that'd be nice. Yeah, Hertz is looking ridiculous this year. But yeah, if we can split the Denver one, that'll be fine. Because it looks like we're gonna do pretty good on the rest. But yeah, everyone, thanks for coming by. I know it's not as long as normal, but I know you guys are busy too. So I figure I'm not going to keep you for 3, 4 hours, you know, through the 4 o'clock game. That way we can all just chill and watch the 4 o'clock game. But I will be doing one nighttime for NBA, and I'll put out at least a day, like probably a day in advance instead of like 12 hours. That way everyone has time. Oh, no problem, Dan. Good luck to you as well, and no problem. I appreciate you guys for always coming and showing support. It's fun, and then when you guys bring up stuff, it brings things in up in my mind that I was thinking of, and it just makes it where I can like, oh, if I have a theory, someone brings something up and it reminds me of a theory. No problem, Neil. Again, thank you guys. Thank you, Scratch, everyone, Steve, that always comes by, Double P. It was good seeing you, man. And I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying too. So yeah, feel free to jump in the Discord, Peter. Thanks, man. I'm glad you came by. You were the first one here, I think, which is awesome. I always appreciate that. Uh, and like I said, if you guys have a particular time you want me to do, I think it was me and you that talked about the NBA, Peter. Me and Peter were talking about doing NBA, which would be cool. Like Tuesday, maybe like 6, 7 o'clock. We can do it after dinner or something. Yeah, it's a tough one. I lean Cincinnati just because I think many are going to go with the Chiefs because they're the Chiefs, but I can totally see people going with the uh, the Bengals. Yeah, I'm gonna post the NBA just like I did the NFL in the rig log. I just like I said, I just did the 1 o'clock games because I wanted to get them in there in time, and then I'll be doing the same with the NBA. I think the first NBA is 4 o'clock, so I think we got some time there. But let me make sure. Um, 3:30. Okay, yeah. Also, I'll have it in there in time. So I'll post the NBA game that sequence. I think it's the Nuggets. I like the Nuggets in that one. Hopefully they made it. I'm not sure if they're kicking it or if they made it. It'd be cool if they made it because that makes things interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna post all the pics in the Discord too. So if there's any kind of picks that like last minute thing you need, just go in the Discord. I have it charted, it's highlighted, so it makes it a lot easier for you to just see the pics. Nice, good job. That's awesome. Looks like they had the magnetic poles or the magnets on the nets. Yeah, Dan. So the next video is going to probably be like about an hour, because we got a game starting real soon. So that one, I guess only you guys will probably be privy to. I like the Nuggets. Let me make sure that is the 3:30 game. Yes, I like the Nuggets. I think too much money is going to be on the Pelicans, and I like the Spurs because I think a lot of people have been seeing the Suns blow people out, and I think at home the Spurs win. So in case I don't get it out in time, that those are the only games before 6. I like the Nuggets and Spurs to cover. That way you guys know. I'll put that in the Discord though too. Spurs isn't a game I absolutely love, just so you know. I might not even play it myself, so um, I'm just saying those are the teams I would pick. But I do love the Nuggets. I like the Nuggets in that game. 26, we can get it done. But yeah, thank everybody that I said that came along and stuff, asked questions. And just to clarify, like I said, I do like the Nuggets a lot. The Spurs, if I had to choose, I do like them. I'll probably play them, but all the official ones I'll post in the Discord, and all the official ones in my videos I go over as well. No problem. Thank you guys. And as I always say, take care and happy earnings.